you're here to find some underappreciated shows or maybe hear me praise a few old favorites, you've come to the right place. This is Restless in Peace, and today we're spotlighting Hinga Hero. I'm Fennec, and I've been an anime fan for almost a decade and have watched hundreds of shows. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with friends. If you haven't seen up to and including episode 5 of Hinga Hero, spoilers ahead. Hinga Hero is about a working man, Yoshida-san, that is fresh from a rejection and that meets a teenage girl on the street on his way home. She pretty much offers herself to him in exchange for staying the night, but what he actually ends up doing is a bit different. Yes, he takes her home, but he doesn't sleep with her. Instead, he gives her a bed and a safe place where she can call home. And, he kind of just aims to set her straight by increasing her self-worth and getting her ready as possible for eventually moving out. I think that's also really important that he brought her in with the intention of her eventually moving out. And, he just wants her to make it on her own properly. The thing is, this is a romance anime, and Yoshida-san is a very dense protagonist. Now, I get that a lot of people get really triggered with dense main characters, but I have to say from first-hand experience that you can actually be that dense. And it's not like people that are that dense don't notice that X-girl might like them. It's kind of like they disqualify the possibility of that girl liking them. The thought might cross their mind, does she maybe like me? But the very next thought will always be, nah, there's no way someone like her would like someone like me. I'm a living, breathing example that this actually exists. After all, my first girlfriend, she had a crush on me for 3 years before I noticed, and there were a lot of signs. I was kind of stupid, and a similar thing happened with my third girlfriend. Only that time it was 1 year instead of 3. So yeah, people can be that dense. True, it's usually over-exaggerated in most anime, but in this one, it's actually very realistic, again, from first-hand experience. And Yoshida-san is definitely a really good guy, but, that's kind of also the problem. He's very reliable, he's kind, he's not handsome, but he's good looking. He's a very bad liar, and he has defined principles, lines that he won't cross, and if you combine all that kind of just being financially stable, it becomes pretty understandable why some of the women around him would develop feelings for him. But there's a very big problem here, and okay, let's go over the 3 main love interests in the show. First is Sayu, the teen who's staying with Yoshida-san. She likes him, but he won't reciprocate her feelings. He straight up tells her that he's not interested in minors and that if she tries to seduce him, he'll kick her out. Now, what happens with that is that now he's the one guy who didn't take advantage of her, so she likes him even more. And he actually likes her too, but he can't admit it even to himself, because his principles refuse to accept his attraction to a minor, which is completely understandable and a very good quality to have in this situation. Then there's Yoshida's boss, Godo-san, who just so happens to be the woman who rejected him at the start of the first episode. Now that Sayu is living with him, he's taking care of her as her guardian, so he isn't doing any overtime, and Sayu is doing his chores in order to repay his hospitality. So he has ironed out shirts and whatnot. So everyone in the office thinks he got himself a girlfriend because he's cleaner and all that. And we're talking only days after he was rejected by Godo-san. So Godo-san also notices this and over time develops emotions for Yoshida-san through jealousy. Finally, there's Mishima, who is Yoshida's junior at work. He's her mentor and she developed feelings for him, but she can't seem to actually tell him. And obviously she also thinks he has a girlfriend, and then because Goto-san becomes more jealous, she spends more time with Yoshida-san. So now Mishima also suspects her. It just and she also becomes more and more jealous, and Sayu knows that Yoshida-san likes Goto-san, so Sayu's feelings are also being affected by jealousy, and suddenly we're in a spider web of unhealthy relationships. But no matter what, the cream of the crop of bad relationships is Sayu and Yoshida-san. Sayu is obviously the main love interest, so we can very comfortably say that Yoshida-san is going to end up with her, and that's a big problem. And I'm not even talking about the age difference and legal issues. I'm talking about the fact that by setting her straight, as Yoshida-san describes it, he is basically, at least to an extent, molding Sayu's personality. So let's say they become a couple. That means that Yoshida-san is suddenly in a situation where he is basically dating a personality that he created and developed. Of course, only to a certain extent, but still, I'm pretty sure he's gonna end up doing some fine work on that front, and there is nothing wrong with him guiding her like that. Like, until you get to the point where they're actually dating, because that means Yoshida-san is designing his girlfriend in a way, and that's a very unhealthy relationship for both of them. Finally, I do recommend you watch Hinga Hero if you haven't, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with friends. Hinga Hero, usually, let's say with the Wonder Egg Priority episode, I talked about it after 3 episodes, because, I took me time to make sure it's actually a show that I want to recommend you guys. But with Hinga Hero, it was a little more tricky than that, because, I enjoyed the first 3 episodes enough to recommend it, but it also felt like it could very easily go south. So I actually had to watch till episode 5. I waited till episode 5 was released a few days ago until making this episode for that reason, if you were wondering.